Imagine you are standing on the surface of another planet. Your boots sink into rust-colored dust that has remained untouched for more than 4 billion years. Above you, the sky isn't blue. It's a pale butterscotch color, thin and lifeless. The sun is still the same star that shines over Earth, but from here it looks smaller, weaker, almost as if it has forgotten you exist. You are 140 million miles from home. Everything around you is silent. No birds, no oceans, no wind moving through trees. Only the steady rhythm of your own breathing echoes inside your helmet. The horizon stretches endlessly across a world that feels frozen in time. For a brief moment, it's breathtaking, beautiful even. Then you notice something unsettling. The radiation monitor on your wrist is already climbing. Not because of a storm, not because of a malfunction, simply because you are standing here. On Mars, existing is enough to slowly destroy you. Welcome to the Red Planet. If you survive the next year, you will not return as the same person. At first, Mars feels almost inviting. Its sunsets glow blue instead of red, creating an alien beauty unlike anything on Earth. Far beyond the horizon stands Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in the entire solar system, towering so high it makes Mount Everest seem insignificant. Across the planet stretches Valles Marineris, a canyon system so enormous it could span the continental United States. Every direction you look feels like a scene from another universe. It doesn't look hostile, it looks like a place waiting to be explored, but appearances can be dangerously deceptive. Mars was never meant to support human life. Every grain of dust beneath your boots, every breath your suit provides, every step you take across this silent world is part of a constant fight against an environment determined to erase you. The first threat isn't a monster hiding beneath the surface. It isn't an asteroid. It isn't even the freezing cold. It's the air itself, or more accurately, the complete lack of it. The Martian atmosphere is less than 1% as dense as Earth's. Remove your helmet for only a few seconds, and the moisture on your eyes and inside your mouth would begin to boil. Not because of heat, but because the pressure is simply too low to keep water in liquid form. Hollywood often shows bodies exploding in space. Reality is far more terrifying. Your blood wouldn't explode. Your lungs would empty. Your brain would lose oxygen. Within about 15 seconds, consciousness would fade. Within 2 minutes, your story would be over. And that's only the beginning. You might think that once engineers solved the problem of breathing, Mars became survivable. A sealed habitat, a pressurized spacesuit, a reliable oxygen supply. Problem solved. Except it isn't. Because the greatest danger on Mars is something no helmet can completely stop. Look up. The sky above you appears calm, almost empty, but invisible streams of high-energy particles are racing through it every second. Earth is protected by a powerful magnetic field generated deep inside its molten iron core. It acts like an invisible shield, deflecting much of the harmful radiation constantly pouring from the sun and deep space. Mars once had that shield. Billions of years ago, its core cooled. Its magnetic field collapsed. Its protection disappeared. Now the planet stands exposed, and so do you. Every moment outside your habitat, cosmic radiation passes directly through your body. It slices through cells, damages DNA, and leaves microscopic injuries that quietly accumulate over time. The terrifying part? You don't feel any of it. There is no pain, no warning, no alarm telling you your body is changing. The countdown happens silently. One particle, then another, then millions more. Studies suggest astronauts traveling to Mars could receive radiation doses several times greater than what many people on Earth experience during an entire lifetime. That exposure could increase cancer risk, damage blood vessels, affect the nervous system, and even alter how the brain processes memory and decision-making. Imagine waking up months into your mission, forgetting small details, losing concentration, feeling mentally slower. Without realizing, the planet itself may be rewriting your biology. Mars doesn't attack all at once. It wins one invisible particle at a time. and radiation is only one enemy. Soon, your own body begins turning against you. Mars has only 38% of Earth's gravity. At first, it feels incredible. Walking becomes effortless. Heavy equipment suddenly feels lighter. You can jump farther than ever before. For a while, it almost feels like you've become stronger. But your body knows the truth. Strength comes from resistance. Without Earth's gravity constantly pulling on your muscles and bones, your skeleton begins losing density. Your muscles slowly shrink. Your heart no longer works as hard to pump blood. Fluids shift upward toward your head, increasing pressure behind your eyes. Changes begin that you cannot see, but you will eventually feel. Mars hasn't made you stronger. It has simply begun taking pieces of you away, and the longer you stay, the harder it becomes to remember what life under Earth's gravity ever felt like. After a few months, the changes become impossible to ignore. Every movement feels normal on Mars. That's the dangerous part. Because your body is adapting to a world it was never meant to live on. Your leg muscles continue shrinking despite daily exercise. Your bones lose minerals little by little, becoming weaker with every passing week. Inside your chest, your heart slowly changes shape, no longer fighting against the pull of Earth's gravity. Blood and other body fluids remain shifted toward your head, creating constant pressure that can blur your vision. Some astronauts who have spent long periods in space have returned with lasting changes to their eyesight. Now imagine spending an entire year on Mars. If you ever made it home, standing under Earth's full gravity again could feel like carrying an impossible weight. Walking might require months of rehabilitation. A simple fall could become a broken bone. You wouldn't return as the person who left. Mars wouldn't simply change where you lived. It would change what your body had become. And just when you think you've learned how to survive, the planet reminds you who's really in control. It begins with dust, not ordinary dust. Martian dust is unbelievably fine, almost like smoke made of powdered rock. It clings to everything. Your boots, your gloves, your equipment. Every tiny seal protecting the air you breathe. Then the wind starts to rise. At first, it seems harmless. A faint haze appears on the horizon. Hours later, that haze becomes a wall stretching across the sky. Days later, the sun begins to disappear. Mars is capable of producing dust storms so enormous they can swallow the entire planet. From orbit, the surface vanishes beneath a blanket of airborne dust. Day becomes twilight. Twilight becomes darkness. In 2018, NASA's Opportunity rover faced exactly this nightmare. After surviving for more than 14 years on Mars, far longer than anyone expected, a global dust storm blocked the sunlight reaching its solar panels. The rover transmitted one final message. Then, silence. It never woke up again. Now imagine you're the one trapped inside that storm. Your habitat depends on electricity. Electricity keeps the heaters running, the oxygen flowing, the water recycling, the communication systems alive. The storm doesn't need to tear your shelter apart. It doesn't need hurricane force winds. It simply steals the sunlight and waits, patiently, silently, knowing that eventually, everything inside your habitat begins counting down towards zero. But even if your habitat survives, even if the power stays on, even if every system continues working exactly as designed, there is one danger no machine can protect you from. Silence. Not ordinary silence. The kind that stretches across millions of miles. On Earth, if you're afraid, you call someone. You hear a familiar voice. Someone answers immediately. On Mars, that world no longer exists. Depending on where Earth and Mars are in their orbits, a single message can take anywhere from 4 to 24 minutes to arrive. One way: ask a question, wait, receive an answer. Wait again. Every conversation becomes nearly an hour long. There are no live phone calls, no instant reassurance. No one can interrupt your loneliness. You are farther from another human being than anyone in history has ever been. Researchers studying Antarctic stations, submarines, and simulated Mars habitats have observed something deeply unsettling. Isolation changes the mind. Sleep becomes irregular. Concentration begins to fade. Small disagreements become enormous. Time starts to lose meaning. And then comes something psychologists call the third quarter effect. Strangely, morale often doesn't collapse at the beginning of an expedition, or at the very end. It breaks somewhere in the middle, when the excitement is gone, but home still feels impossibly far away. Every day begins to look exactly like the last. The same habitat, the same routines, the same endless horizon beyond the window. You begin counting days, then weeks, then you stop counting altogether. The silence grows heavier. Not because nobody loves you, but because the universe itself is simply too large for love to travel quickly. And perhaps that's the most frightening realization of all. Mars doesn't need monsters. It doesn't need predators. It doesn't even need extreme weather every day. It simply gives you enough time, enough distance, enough silence for your own mind to become your greatest enemy. Then comes the final uncertainty. Everything scientists have planned for, everything engineers have designed, everything astronauts have trained to survive, is based only on what we already know. Mars still holds secrets beneath its dust. Its soil contains toxic perchlorites, capable of contaminating habitats and threatening human health if they aren't carefully controlled. And no human being has ever lived on Mars long enough to understand what a full year of radiation, reduced gravity, toxic dust, and complete isolation will do when all of them happen together. The first person to survive a year on Mars won't just be an explorer, they'll become the experiment. Imagine that against every impossible odd. You survive. The suit never fails. The habitat keeps breathing. The dust storms pass. The radiation never reaches a fatal dose. 1 year later, a spacecraft lifts you from the surface of Mars and begins the long journey home. From orbit, the red planet grows smaller beneath you. The world that spent 12 months trying to break you slowly disappears into the darkness. You should feel victorious. Instead, you feel different. Because you are different. Your bones are weaker. Your muscles have forgotten Earth's weight. Your heart has adapted to another world. Your vision may never be exactly the same. And somewhere inside your cells, radiation has written a story that may not reveal itself for years. Then Earth appears. A brilliant blue sphere suspended in black space. The only world known to protect human life. The only place where every breath isn't borrowed. As the capsule lands, gravity welcomes you home. Except it doesn't feel like home anymore. Standing becomes exhausting. Walking feels unnatural. The weight of your own body seems almost unbearable. The planet you spent your entire life on now feels unfamiliar. Mars didn't simply test your survival. It changed what survival meant. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson hidden beneath its endless red deserts. The universe was never built for us. Not Mars. Not the moon. Not the silent space between the stars. Every place beyond Earth is indifferent to human life. It offers no mercy, no second chances, no forgiveness. Every second an astronaut survives beyond our atmosphere is not because space became safer. It's because humanity learned how to fight against an environment that never wanted us there. Every spacesuit, every spacecraft, every airlock, every tiny bolt holding those machines together is another attempt to cheat a universe that plays by no human rules. One failed seal, one damaged circuit, one unexpected storm, one moment of bad luck, and millions of miles from home. There is no rescue, no backup,